Hello and welcome to the Blood Red Morning Bulletin. I'm James Martin and today I'm joined by Keifer MacDonald. Hi mate, how you doing?
Good after last night's African Cup of Nations final. Nice to see some Liverpool players with some trophies in their hands, and I'm looking forward to getting into it this morning.
Yeah, plenty of drama for Liverpool fans yesterday. You had the FA Cup, and then once that's done, nice game between possibly the team's two biggest stars. So yeah, that doesn't get much better than that in terms of content. We're going to be focusing purely on the AFCON final today. Lots of storylines to dig into, of course, as you say. Mane lifting the trophy. Salah, of course, meaning that means he misses out. I suppose we'll start with the positive note. We'll start with Mane. Redemption. He missed a penalty in normal time, then steps up again to take the winning penalty. What do you reckon's going through his head when he steps up for that second spot kick?
Well, if it was anything like what was going through my head, then it would have been an absolute bag of nerves. Especially like you say, the penalty that he missed early on. It just felt like as soon as he missed that, and obviously the story of the Egypt goalkeeper, it felt like it was kind of set up for them to win it. Um, and then obviously, Mane hasn't been himself for the last 18 months really, and that was there's such a huge. I think over here in the UK we probably underestimate how much pressure was on his shoulders. Then it's a whole nation, a nation who have never won it before. So to step up and especially after Salah kind of knocked himself back, didn't he? He obviously didn't take a penalty. For Mane to just fire it the way he did was unbelievable. It was such a good penalty as well, right into the side netting. And cue the celebrations that I'm sure is probably still going now as we speak, 12 hours later.
Yeah, and you mentioned Mane's been kind of out of sorts for a little while now. What sort of impact do you reckon this might have on Liverpool in terms of returning from the tournament as an AFCON winner?
Well, you got to hope that it kind of kickstarts his career again, because he hasn't been that same player that he was in that title winning season, and even the Madrid season. He was unbelievable in both of those. And I think he said it himself last year that he kind of looked at his diet, looked at everything about his game, and was kind of identified what was wrong with him. And I think there would have been a lot of players with the behind closed doors football who maybe suffered, and I think Mane is one of them who needs to be loved and needs to be cherished. And maybe he hasn't had that over the last year or so. He's slightly gone down the pecking order. The arrival of Jota, obviously Salah's kind of taken his game to new heights. And it wasn't just a penalty. He's had a really good tournament. I think it was it 3 goals and 2 assists in the 6 or 7 games it was. So he's not he's it's such a small sample size, but it does give you hope, and the nature of his goals, and he's running in behind. I think there was one in the semi-final where he runs in behind and thinks the goalkeeper, and like I say, even the composure yesterday to take that penalty is, you got to really hope that he can maybe kick on and come back, and maybe even just show glimpses of that player he was 2 or 3 years ago, because even if Mane is playing at 70% of that level, he's an unbelievable player and a great asset to any team.
Absolutely, and he's got Luis Diaz for company at Liverpool now, which maybe piles on the pressure even more. But we saw Mane a lot in the number 10 for Senegal. Maybe that's something we'll see Klopp experiment with. Who knows? But yeah, unfortunately, the fact that Mane won it means that Salah had to lose it. You touched upon there the penalty order. It's almost been threatening to happen all tournament, hasn't it? With Salah being the fifth taker, it's worked out for them. He scored the winner in their first shootout. Then he didn't even have to take one in the second one because they'd already won it. But you just felt like they were asking for trouble. And sure enough, at crunch time, he didn't even take a spot kick. How much do you reckon that will hurt him?
Well, everyone seems to have an opinion, didn't they, on who takes what penalties. Do you have your best penalty taker going first? And don't get me wrong, I can see both arguments. I can see both sides of it. If you have Salah going first, the confidence that does, but then at the same time, if it gets to number 5 and it's maybe a centre half or a fullback or a midfielder who maybe is not used to taking penalties, then you're probably going to get hammered in the same way. I mean, like you say, they were playing with fire all tournament in those penalty shootouts, weren't they? Because it was number 5 Salah kind of for the glory. And don't get me wrong, it worked in the first one against Ivory Coast, didn't it? And obviously in the second one, like you say, he didn't take one. It was disappointing last night. I would have liked to see him take a penalty, but we know he's got a good record from the spot for Liverpool, and he probably would have scored his. But at the same time, if Mane misses his and it comes to Salah, everyone's hailing him or Egypt as geniuses, and what a great tactic it was, and so on and so forth. So it's just such fine margins, especially in a final like that, everything's going to be scrutinised, isn't it? You know, the slightest decisions, the slightest thing that could have gone either way. So I don't think it's anything to maybe pick up on Salah, but you know, maybe it could have given them a boost. You don't know, but obviously, like I say, it worked in the previous penalty shootout. So you know, they've got every reason to implement that. Again, that seems to obviously be their plan throughout the tournament.
Yeah, and I suppose ultimately you've got Mane taking fifth as well, and you know he's now the hero of the piece. So yeah, it's just depends how it falls for you. It's worked out well for Senegal and not for Egypt on this occasion, but naturally drew some Ronaldo comparisons in terms of sticking himself fifth and then not even getting to take one. But another interesting Ronaldo comparison potentially comes from the Mane miss in the first half, right at the start of the game, because he had a little bit of a chat with Salah there before he took it, didn't he? It's a irresistible Rooney Ronaldo vibes. Yeah, it looked like Salah might have been telling Gabaski where he thinks Mane's going to put it or something. Mane's telling him to go away, and then the penalty stage. It's compelling viewing, but yeah, from a Liverpool perspective, do you reckon that'll all be behind them already?
I think so. I mean, you know, like I say, I think we probably underestimate how much AFCON means. You only have to look at, you know, at the start of January, the end of December, when kind of the squads were being put together, and people were saying, you know, wouldn't Salah and Mane rather be part of a title race? And you know, I'm sure if you ask them, they'd probably rather go home to their home, you know, their home continent, and you know, try and secure, you know, the glory that, you know, Mane obviously did in the end. But you know, it means so much to them, and you know, it's a small margins, isn't it? And I'm sure, you know, they both seem, you know, nice enough fellas to, you know, and you saw it full time. You know, Mane straight away went up to Salah and kind of put an arm around him, which was nice to see. And you know, he didn't have to do that, but you know, we've seen Salah do that. I think he did it to Hakimi in maybe the last 16 or whenever they played Morocco. So you know, they're both they're both obviously great sports, and you know, I wouldn't think that it would spill over at all. You know, that you got to think they've been going, you know, toe to toe for the last 3 or 4 years now. They are, as well as they are teammates, they are rivals. You know, they've gone for golden boots together. Obviously, they've got the World Cup qualifiers coming up. You know, they've had previous AFCON tournaments. So this last night, that kind of whole going together, that's not going to be something new to them. Maybe directly, maybe, but like I say, I think by Salah and Mane's reactions after, you know, it probably told you everything was going to be fine, and you know, it'd be as right as rain. And if anything, it's probably going to give Salah that bit between his teeth, you know, for the final few months of the season, which, you know, maybe if you look at it on the face of it, maybe Mane needed that lift more than Salah does. You know, Salah's obviously going through probably the best form of his career. You know, Mane not so much, but you saw it last year with you know, the six straight home defeats, and Salah came out and put that social post into and said, you know, we're champions, we're going to fight till the end, kind of thing. And then what happened? Liverpool go and win, you know, 9 of the last 10 games. So, you know, if we can get a similar response, or you know, a Salah 2.0, if you want to call it, then you know, that's a winner for everyone, isn't it? Especially the games coming up. But yeah, no, they've got the qualifiers in March to put it right, and I'm sure that will give Salah a bit of something to kind of maybe get one over on Mane.
Yeah, I saw someone say that a confident Mane and an angry Salah might be the best solution Liverpool could have hoped for. So yeah, hopefully it pans out like that. I suppose the one definite downside when you're looking at it from a Salah perspective is it's going to harm his chances of a potential Ballon d'Or next season. Whether he would get the recognition he deserves anyway. I mean, I think most Liverpool fans have somewhat lost their faith in that after the last one where he was bizarrely far down the list. But everyone knows that an international tournament can help. Maybe AFCON doesn't get the respect it deserves in that regard, but it wouldn't have hurt his case. Now it's going to be more of an uphill struggle. But I suppose all he can do is keep banging him in for Liverpool and hope that's enough to make someone take notice.
Yeah, 100%. Like, you know, Messi obviously won it last year, and the whole kind of it was pinned on. Yeah, he hasn't had the greatest start at PSG, and he didn't do great at Barcelona for the last campaign. But you know, he helped Argentina win the Copa America. So, you know, if Salah could have, you know, put his continent's trophy in his pocket in the first month of January, then you know he would have had a really strong case. You know, come December, come January next year to say, you know, this, you know, it's about time that I get the recognition I deserve. But you know, his form for Liverpool over the past 6-7 months, even probably the last 12, actually, to be fair, he's been unbelievable. You know, he single-handedly got his top 4 last year, started like a house on fire this year. And, you know, this is probably the only time that I can think of in probably my lifetime that Liverpool is strong enough to go on all 4 fronts this You've got the League Cup final coming up. They've got a good route to the FA Cup semi-finals. It's a nice draw. The Champions League, you'd expect them to get past Inter Milan, and the Premier League, yes, it's going to be a hard task to catch City, but with the kind of lift that I think everyone's got over the past week or 10 days, there's no reason why Liverpool can't cut that gap and kind of see what happens. So if Salah can finish the year with I don't know, say for sake a Champions League and a League Cup, it's only going to strengthen his case. I'd be very surprised if this time next year he hadn't won a trophy. So I'm sure that's not something to be worried about. And like you say, his form's been fantastic. So he's been the best player on the continent. So you'd expect him to be higher than he was. What was he, 7th? I think he was. So you'd at least expect him to be in that top 2 kind of thing. So fingers crossed.
Yeah, and a quadruple won't hurt his chances. So we'll just work to that plan, shall we? But yeah, that just about does us for the morning bulletin. Thank you everyone who tuned in. We'll be back again same time tomorrow and every weekday. So keep an eye out for them. In the meantime, thanks for watching.